Hi, everybody. It's Sam Bennett. Welcome. We're just a minute or two before the top of the hour. So hi and welcome. Let me go ahead and make a little chat thing that'll say hello. Hi, everyone. Oops. Good. And let's see who's here. People are showing up. That's great. Wonderful to see you. Yay. Hi, everybody. Good. Go ahead and type into the chat just so that I know that you can see me and hear me and everything's going okay. Good. Oh, excellent. Oh, hi, Kathy. Good. Nice to see you. I'm super keyed up because this is all brand new material and I get really excited when I'm teaching something brand new. So I've been running around all morning like it's Christmas all over again. Larry's in Chicago, my hometown. Hi, Joanne from New Jersey. Great, wonderful to see you. There's Jeffifer. Hi, Jeff. Nice to see you. Great, this is so wonderful. Some of you are clients and existing students of mine. Some of you have been on my list for a long time. Some of you are brand new. So welcome to this time together. It's exactly the top of the hour, so I want to go ahead and start really promptly. And the first thing I want to do is I think I want to start with this breathing, because like I said, I'm kind of keyed up because of all the excitement of teaching something new. So let's take this opportunity to center in a little bit and to put ourselves in the middle of this time, this moment in time in your life, in your creative life, in your professional life, in your teaching life. You may want to turn off, in fact, you definitely want to turn off all the other windows or browsers or tabs you might have open on your computer. If you have anything that does automatic backup, like Dropbox or some kind of syncing backup, you want to pause that, because these webinars, while they're fantastic, they eat up a lot of space. So your computer's going to need all the memory and room it can find to stream this effectively. If you have trouble with the streaming, you can run your mouse over the screen. When I do it, there's a little bar up at the top and there's a little thing that looks like a gear, and you can adjust the settings. You can adjust the bandwidth at which this broadcasts. So if things get out of sync, adjust that setting. I might get a little more pixelated, but you'll get better syncing. Okay. So yeah, let's drop your shoulders down and back a little bit, loosen your jaw. Right? We're going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. We'll just do that one time just to be here now. We spend all day running around doing all kinds of things. This is a time to focus on you and your message for the world. You ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you. Thank you for doing that with me. I'm here alone today. I don't have a co-pilot, so I'm just going to try and, keep track of the chat and answer your questions and deliver all this material while keeping all these balls in the air. Rosie said it just froze on my iPad. Yeah, you may, again, want to just reduce that bandwidth setting. Sometimes tablets have a hard time with these. Good, great. Good to see you all. So here's why we're here. Here's what I'm doing. I have a new workshop. In fact, I'll go ahead and put up the information about that workshop right now. I have a brand new workshop called Turn Your Wisdom into Workshops that's starting on the 21st. It's starting at the end of this month. And you can check that out anytime during this, this time together or later. And, so it's so fun creating something brand new, because then I get to create all the attendant new materials, including this workshop. So I did a call back in December about how much to charge, because I know that's a big deal. And if you're interested in that, you can go to YouTube and look up how much should I charge Samantha Bennett, and it should show right up. It's been a really popular video. And with this in particular, you guys may know there's kind of a lot of rules about how to promote these things and stuff. And I've decided to break some of those. For example, there's sort of the rule that you're kind of not supposed to give too much information. And I'm sure you've been on these webinars or teleclasses, right, where they talk about a really pressing problem, some issue that people have in whatever area they're teaching in. And they talk a lot about how hard it is to deal with this issue. And they give you a very tiny, maybe bit of information about how to solve it. And then the rest of it is all about how you really have to take this class if you really want to solve this problem. I find that really annoying, personally. And the conventional wisdom behind it is that if you give people too much information for free, then it's like giving them a really heavy appetizer before dinner. People are like, I'm full. I don't need to buy anything. I feel great. And I just want to test that theory today. So I'm going to give you as much information as I possibly can. I'm not holding back. Our only limitation is time or how long my voice holds out. So that's what I'm up to. I am promoting this workshop. We'll talk some about that about 2/3 of the way through. Right, so I'm going to go through these 24 mistakes, embarrassing mistakes, painful mistakes, things that you wouldn't think of, that nobody ever tells you about how to run a workshop, either online or in person. I'm going to spend about probably 5 to 7 minutes talking about the new class, Turn Your Wisdom into Workshops, so that if you're interested in that, you will have enough information to make a decision. And if you're not, you can space out and make notes about what you want your workshop to look like next time. And then there's at the very end, I want to go through some hidden tips, because there's the 24 tips that I'm going to talk about, but there's also things that I am doing during the course of this webinar that are important information, important points to know about if you're going to be offering workshops. So if you're sort of a sleuthing kind of a person, or you like to peer into the deep structure of things, I encourage you to keep an eye out and make some notes about what are some things that I'm doing that support a successful workshop that if you weren't looking for them, you might not know were happening. Okay, so that's my little secret hidden treasure hunt for you. And we'll talk about those at the end. I'll reveal what some of those are, and I'll see which ones maybe you've noticed, ones that I didn't even know I was doing. And then I'll take as many questions from you as I can, answer as many questions as I can, because I'm interested in what you're thinking about. Also, because like I said, I am trying to get people into this workshop. If you decide that you do want to take the Wisdom into Workshops course, and you buy during the course of this live webinar, not watching the replay, but right now live in person, you will get a very special bonus that I'm not even going to tell you what it is, but trust me, you'll like it. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, let's plunge right in. 24, it's actually, this list right now is 27, because I thought of a few more while I was writing them out this morning and yesterday. 27 things to know that nobody ever tells you about how to put on a successful workshop. The first one, I came up with my list, and then I also went to a private Facebook page that I'm on that has a lot of the personal development coaches and teachers and healers, people, some of them are pretty famous, some of them are really famous. And I put up a little post and I said, okay, what is it you wish someone had told you when you were first starting out? Like, what's your best advice for a newbie that they might not learn otherwise? And they had some great responses. So this is my wisdom, but it's also the collective wisdom of some of the people who are the best in the business at this. And the first one I want to share with you came from my friend Nancy Marmolejo, and she was the first one to respond, and she said, never do math on stage. So if you're a note-taking kind of a person, I would go ahead and write that down. Never do math on stage. It's amazing how when you are presenting, your thinking brain just like it just functions differently than it does otherwise. So if you have to do math, have a calculator or appoint someone, bring someone up on stage with you to do the math, because I guarantee you will get confused. The same is true of spelling. It can be very difficult to spell in front of people. I'm not sure why. So that's tip number 1, never do math on stage. Tip number 2, so I've broken this up into sort of planning, what to do while you're planning the workshop, what to do before the workshop, what to do during, what to do while you're selling, if you're trying to sell something during the webinar, how to manage some of that, and then what to do afterwards. Okay, so first tip, never do math on stage. Second tip, in the planning stages, don't do it unless you love it. Teach what you love, teach what you're passionate about, teach what you really feel like will make a difference for people. It's made a difference for you and you feel like it'll make a difference for other people. If your heart's not in it, it's really difficult to fill the room. That's my experience. And like I said, when I say room, I mean either a virtual room like this or a physical, actual room, in-person room. Number 3 in the planning stage is plan for tech failure. Assume that the tech is going to go sideways. Assume that the lights are going to go out. Assume that the sound won't work. Assume that the webinar is going to glitch. Assume that the recording won't happen. And have a backup system. Just like on your wedding day, you had a plan B if it rained, right? So just acknowledge that there's a good likelihood that something's going to go wrong, and give at least a moment's thought to what you might do if everything were to go completely sideways. This next one, this is one of the ones I mentioned on the promo materials for this, about like the surefire way to make sure that your content rocks the house every single time, and that people, you see my cats in the background, hi kitties, that to make sure that your content is really extraordinary. And again, this may seem kind of simple once I say it, but it's incredible how effective it is. And the answer is, you create effective content by asking your people what they want to learn. You create the killer rock the house content by asking them ahead of time, what is it that's really important to them? Before I do my summer event, the Big Yes, in July, I send out a survey, and I always ask, what's the number one thing? If you could walk away from this weekend with one thing, what's the one thing you would most like to learn? And based on that material, I've got the stuff I want to teach, but I always take that stuff into consideration, because I want you all walking out of the room going, that was totally worthwhile. I got that piece of information I was looking for. And if somebody's asking for something that's completely not what I do, I can reach back out to them and say, just to manage your expectations for this workshop, that's not what I'm going to be covering, or I'm not going to be talking about it in that way, or this other program might be better, or I might even refer you to another teacher entirely, because I don't really do whatever that is. So really, ask them for feedback, ask them for feedback during the workshop, ask them for feedback after the workshop. Have your staff keep their ears up, for what people are saying. You really, it's not about you, right? It's about them. It's about them. It's what people really want to be learning from you. Good. Just trying to look and see if this chat is happening. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Number 5 is get a room angel. That's a phrase I learned from Kendall Summerhawk. Some of you may have heard her say that. So don't get somebody to assist you, both during the planning and execution of the workshop, and certainly during the actual thing of it. Especially if it's happening live in a room, you want someone who can get someone an Advil, ask the hotel to turn down the air conditioning, make more copies, assist you, answer questions, and just be an extra pair of hands and feet for you. Don't try to do it alone. Let's see, number 6. This is again with the planning stages. Don't barter. I would love to live in a world in which bartering really worked. And if you've made it work, then I'm all in favor of it, because in theory, I think it's great. But what I see in practice is that it gets a little too complicated, right? Because you end up in this situation where you're like, well, you know, I want them to turn up the heat, but he's giving us the space for free, so I don't really want to ask. You know, like it gets kind of muddy. So I would rather, if you want to do a barter with somebody, just write each other a check for $500. You know, just keep it really clean. Let's see, number 7. Am I whipping through this material or what? Is this valuable? Okay, good. Oh, and yeah, so another planning thing. You want to create for yourself a little workshop box. And again, whether you're teaching virtually or in person, you want to have the stuff you need right near you. You know, you want to have a little clock. You want to have some Advil. You want to have pens and tape and scissors. You want to have extra copies of your worksheets. You want to have business cards. And you really want to create that in advance of the day of, because, you know, again, it's like a wedding. You're going to be running around like a crazy person. But if you have it and you always have it, then every time you speak or have a workshop, you can just pick up your little workshop box and go. Good. Now I'm a little concerned because I'm not seeing more things coming in the chat. So I just want to look at that. Are you guys asking questions and I'm not seeing them, or are you just being very quiet? That's my question for you. No, I don't want to display a sticky message. I wonder if maybe it's because the offer's up. Okay, let me take the offer down and I'll just type in the website. Just listening. Okay, all right, good, good. Being quiet. Okay, good, excellent. That's fine. You're allowed to be quiet. I just want to make sure that, you know, I hadn't somehow lost everybody. Taking notes, taking notes. Here's a test message. Awesome. Okay, good, good. That's the best possible news. Like I said, ask for feedback, check in, right? Good. So that's the first 7. I have already saved you several $1,000s. Okay, so now we're talking about just before, like the day of the workshop, okay? This is one of the suggestions I got from my friends, from my colleagues. I had never thought of this before. She said, print out your PowerPoint presentation. Have a hard copy of it. It's like, that's such a good suggestion, because I hardly use PowerPoint, even when I'm speaking live, even when I'm speaking in front of a big, you know, hotel ballroom. I'll only do it if they really, really want me to. Just because I'd really, you know, anytime there's a big screen, people are looking at the big screen, and I'd rather them be having a human interaction with me than an interaction with a big screen. But if you are doing something that involves PowerPoints, or you guys have seen sometime on my webinars, I'll use slides. Make sure you print out a hard copy in advance and have that with you, so that, again, you can read along, you can keep track, somebody else can keep track. And if for some reason the PowerPoint's not available, you have a printout of what it is you're going to do. I thought that was really smart. This is one of the most important things I can tell you about leading a workshop. And it's so easy to skip over. It's so easy to not do, particularly for you all, because you're so generous and you're so self-sacrificing, and you often don't take care of yourselves even under normal circumstances. Leading a workshop, online, in person, on the phone, it takes an enormous amount of energy to sort of set the container and hold the space, not to mention, you know, the energy that it takes to deliver the material and sort of stay in touch with everybody and make sure everything's going smoothly. The day before and the day of, you are the talent. Write that down. You are the talent. So you want somebody else parking the car, somebody else setting up the chairs, somebody else, you know, checking people in and taking their checks and worrying about their lunch order. You need to be clear and calm and relaxed. You want to wear something that makes you feel great. You want to, you know, feel like you look great. You want to be well rested. I know a lot of people, especially when they do those 3-day events, they'll hire a body worker person for the whole time. You know, they'll get a massage every day. They'll get body work every day just so that they can stay really clear and on point. So whatever that means to you, make sure that you are treating yourself as the talent. And it may feel like, oh, I can't afford to hire somebody for that, or, oh, I can't afford an assistant. Believe me, that's a false economy. It's truly, you can't afford not to. It will cost you repeat business. It'll cost you sales. It'll cost you effectiveness. It'll cost you a good workshop if you're, you know, exhausted and futzing around with some of the details that really a stage manager or assistant should be dealing with. You hearing me? You are the talent. Okay, good. Let's see, number 10. This is another one that I hadn't thought of, but one of my friends said, and I thought it was really true. It takes longer to teach something in real life than it does in your head. So you probably don't need as much content as you think you do. You can probably get away with less information and more time to process. Right? I think sometimes people feel like, oh, I've got to, you know, cover everything. And I always have that feeling like, I want to tell you everything about everything all at once. And that's not the best way to teach. That's not going to lead to an effective workshop. That's just going to overwhelm people. So think of the one or two really clear points you want to make and give them the time and space, because it's an old idea to you, but it's new to them. It's new to them. So you want to give them time to digest, to experience, to do worksheets, to, you know, to really cuddle up to the material. Number 11. Okay, this one's a little sensitive, but I think you guys will understand what I'm saying. You need to keep an eye out for the problem children. There are people in the world, and particularly, well, maybe not particularly, but, you know, especially in the sort of the woo-woo world, the self-help world, the personal development world, the creative world, you know, the parameters for normal behavior are pretty wide. You know, you can be pretty weird before somebody goes, you're uncomfortably weird. But you want to keep an eye out for the people who are uncomfortably weird. There are people with boundary issues. There are people who are just super sensitive for whatever reason. You know, they're going to need a lot of extra attention or a lot of hand-holding. They're going to demand a lot of time at the mic. They're going to want special with you. They're going to complain. They're going to foment dissent. You know, they're going to stir things up in the crowd. Really keep an eye out for those people. Really keep an eye out for those people, and really encourage your staff to keep an eye out for those people. And not that you have to kick them out or anything, but they might need a little special management. You know, they might need a staff member to come sit by them. They might need someone to ask them, you know, to let other people have a chance to talk. They might, you know, they might need some special handling. And so again, this is just something to know that it happens, and think about some strategies, you know, think about what might happen. And as people are enrolling, even keeping a little eye out. And as you do it, you'll get better at it. You'll start to recognize the signs of who's like, oh, I think that person's going to be trouble. And again, not that they can't join in. Of course they can. But it's like, you know, somebody got a room full of kids, and you know who the troublemakers are, and you just got to sit on them a little bit so that the whole group gets a better experience. Okay. So this is also the last one in the before, in the setup stage, is welcome people. Welcome people. Welcome them into the space. Make sure there's signs to direct them to the room. Welcome them into the virtual space or onto the call. Really acknowledge that they have taken the time to get there. And especially if they're there in person, give them drinks and a snack. People are much happier if they have something to drink and something to snack on. Doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be expensive, but you do not want people having a low blood sugar crash in the middle of your talk, right? So you'll hear me do it on the phone, and you're like, oh, you know, get something to drink, get a pen, get get settled, welcome yourself into this time and space. Really acknowledge that transition for people and make it really welcoming for them. You will never regret the money you spend on snacks. That's all I got to say about that. Okay, so that's in the planning stages. And the before, let's see, Joanne says, is Leonore available for rent? You'd have to talk to her about that. But I'm sure she would be happy to do a consultation with you, for a nominal fee. But yeah, I lucked out with Leonore. I have an incredible staff. My whole staff is amazing. And that would be, we can add that as number 28, hire geniuses. Hire people who are really extraordinary at what they do and overpay them. Pay them really well. It's so worth it. Okay. Good. Okay. How are we doing? All right. I'm going to do 6 more, and then we're going to talk about Wisdom into Workshops, and then I've got another whole bunch to talk through, and then we'll talk questions. During. So now we're in the actual, you've actually started. You're there, they're there, it's all happening. This is another one that I put on the list of it's so simple, it's stupid, but it's shocking. Shocking, I tell you, how many people don't do this. Ready? Pen clicked. Smile. Smile. Smile at them. Smile at them to welcome them. Smile while you're talking. Smile if you're on the phone, if it's a teleclass, or even just a sales call, you're just having a conversation with a client, start with a smile. They can hear it through the phone. They can feel it. It'll change your mood. You all know this, that it physiologically, if you put your face in the shape of a smile, especially sort of a little Mona Lisa smile, you can even just holding a pen in your teeth like this to make a smile shape, starts to release the endorphins that indicate happiness. So that whole smile though your heart is breaking thing, that actually works. It doesn't totally cure a broken heart, but you will feel better. It will remind you. And if you smile at them, they will smile back at you. And then you'll feel more comfortable and more loved and more welcome. So I make a note at the top of all my presentations. It says, breathe, smile, breathe, smile. And then later on, smile, smile. So again, really silly, really simple, but it's amazing how many people just don't do it. They're engaged in their material, they're thinking, they're serious people. Some people come from a culture where there's not so much with the smiling. I worked with this Romanian director, Florinel Fătălescu. And Florinel was Romanian, and he would always say, "What is with you Americans? Ha, ha, ha," with a smile. So, for him, smiling wasn't so much a part of his culture. So yeah, practice. People love a smile, and you'll feel better too. The other one that goes along with that is your body language. And again, this works even when you're on the phone with people, even when they can't actually see your body, it's affecting how you are presenting. So, stand tall, square your shoulders, face them firmly. Don't, be clear in your gestures, be intentional in your movements, don't wander, all that good stagecraft stuff. Those of you who are performers know a lot of this stuff already. It's just the same as good performing, good acting, good singing. But again, it's amazing how many people just let it go out the window and aren't focused on what is their body communicating. Because really, they'll forget everything you say. Except maybe a good teaching story. But they'll remember how it felt to be in the room with you. They'll remember their impression of you. And a lot of that is coming from how you present yourself physically. So keep an eye on your body language. And again, if that's something you need to work on or you need extra coaching on, go get it, because it's totally worth it. This is one for when you're doing these webcasts. Again, it's a tiny thing, but nobody ever tells you And it's amazing how destructive it can be to not do it. Look at the camera, right? I have this big square of my face that's on here on my screen, and it's so tempting to want to watch me. But now if I'm watching me talk, you're not seeing me. You're seeing me watch me. So I need to take some discipline, right? So I need to practice looking into the little webcam, and more than that, looking through it. Right? So I'm not just looking at the little dot, I'm looking through it, and I'm imagining you all on the other side there. I'm sending my energy through there, trying to, bring you in and feel you and see if I can sense if you have questions or you're uncertain about something or something's made you uncomfortable or excited. Oh, look, it's Cooper. Hi, Cooper. You want to say hi? Okay. And same thing, when you're on the phone, really be talking through the phone to people specifically. Same thing when you're getting your picture taken. Don't look at the camera, look through the camera, look through the lens. Connect your energy to the energy of the people behind the lens. And that's what makes for a really vibrant photograph and a really engaging webinar. It's a little eye contact thing, but you got to do it. You got to do it. Good. Where am I? Look through the camera. Okay, number 16. This is another one that came from the group mind, the hive mind of the Facebook community that I'm in. One of them, which is don't try to be professional in your presentation. By which I mean, it's not don't be professional. Of course you want to be professional, but don't depersonality-ize yourself. Be you, be wacky, be weird, be funny, be, express yourself the way you naturally express yourself. Don't try to, be corporate or serious or, all pulled up. That just reads as somebody who's uncomfortable. And it's hard to learn from somebody who's uncomfortable because they seem so uncomfortable. So also, that whole serious thing is really boring. It's so boring. Right? So even if somebody's material is really good, if they're not engaged, if they're not using their personality to move the information forward, it's really dull. And it's just so much more freedom, when you realize you can swear if you want to swear. You can reference God if you want to reference God. You can make jokes if you like to make jokes. You can flirt with them if you like to flirt with them. You want to, keep good boundaries and be appropriate, but you guys know how to do that. You're not going to, you're not going to totally go off the roof, but you might rein yourself in so much that nobody actually feels your heart. Okay. Good. There's a question here that I want to answer about video or no video. Well, I'll just do it now. Okay. So Ginny says, would you say there's a particular value to doing a class with video as opposed to no video? Is it more about personal preference? That's a great question with a bunch of different answers. The advantage to video is several-fold. One, again, people can see you. They can see your eyes. They can read your body language. They can feel you. It's a much more immediate connection and a much deeper connection. And people love video. People that will never listen to an audio or read an ebook will cheerfully watch a video. And you can go longer on a video. You can have a video that's as long as you want it to be because we're used to that. We're used to watching television for a couple hours at a time. So you won't wear them out as much. On the phone, you really can't go more than 90 minutes because everybody's ears fall off. So particularly, when the connection is really important, then it's nice to use video. Also, YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world, right? Google, then YouTube, which is owned by Google, and then I think Amazon is actually the next one. So when people want to learn something, when they have a question about something, they'll go onto YouTube. How much should I charge for a workshop? what are the mistakes I should avoid when I have a workshop? How do I turn a radish into a rose? How do I be a good bridesmaid? How do I, do this yoga pose, this asana? How do I, whatever? How do I put on makeup? And they'll watch videos. So it's a great way to reach people that might not otherwise find you. So those are some of the advantages to video. I often do teleclasses, particularly when the classes are actually, when I'm delivering content, for a couple reasons. One is the majority of my audience are women, and women like to listen while they're doing something else. And if I don't have to tie someone to their computer, I don't want to. Like if people want to, I know a lot of my people, I hear from them all the time. They like to listen while they're out for a walk, or listen while they're at the gym, or listen while they're driving in their car. So if I can deliver the material orally, I will. I think it's nice to give people that option. It's very cheap. It's very portable. I don't have to put on lipstick. There's a lot of advantages to that. So I'd experiment. It will depend some on your tribe. Also, I know for the internationals in the audience, in my audience, the phone alone, when it's just the words, that's a lot of translating to do. It's easier if they can see my face, if they can, it's easier for people for whom English is not their native language to follow along if it's video. So those are some of the things you might want to take into consideration. But again, test it and see what you like, see what works for you. And practice. Okay, so now we're still at during, what's happening actually during the actual workshop itself. This goes a little bit back to you're the talent, but conserve your energy during breaks. I know it's, you're going to finish talking and people are going to want to talk to you. They're going to want to ask questions. And it's amazing to me that you can stand in front of a room and go like, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Do you have a question? Do you have a question? No? Okay, we're going to go to break. You step off the stage and 9 people come up to you going, I just have a question. Like, didn't I just ask you for that in front of the whole room? But, people are shy. They don't want to ask in front of people. I get it. But really, you're not available during breaks. You need to take a break during breaks. So this, again, where having a good staff, a good stage manager, a good room angel, somebody to sort of go, oh, Sam can't talk right now. She's going to be, we got to get her a cup of tea. She'll be back in 20 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. That can be really helpful. Have a room where you go to, where you can put your feet up. And where you can, center back in. Because if you spend that whole break talking to people, you'll just get played out. You'll just get exhausted. It's a challenge. Ginny says, thank you, that really helped. My pleasure. I'm so glad. This last one for the during, again, has a corollary in the beginning one about asking people what they want to learn, asking them for feedback. But it's more than that. Trust the group intelligence. Trust the room. People will tell you what they need to know. They will tell you if they need more time on something. They will tell you if you're being weird. Really lean in to the wisdom of the group. I think one of the things that keeps people from offering workshops is that, like, well, what if I don't do it right? What if I do it wrong? It's like, if you trust and listen to the group, you'll know everything you need to know. You'll know what to do. You'll know if you've tried to put too much information in. You'll know when you need to cut something. You'll know if you're going long. You'll know. If you trust and listen. But I see so many presenters who get so up in their head, they're on such a big ego trip about everything they want to say and do, that they're not paying attention to the room. They're not tuning into the group intelligence. They're not paying attention to the organic thing that is all of us together. And that's true even for something like this, where people could be watching this tonight, tomorrow, months from now, years from now. I've got audios from years ago that people still listen to, and I've got audios of other people's that I still listen to, that I listen to over and over again. And every time I enter that space. So if you're creating something that's not happening live but is going to be preserved, you want to keep an awareness that that group intelligence is existing outside of the bounds of time and space. It's an interesting trick. I'll talk more about that in the actual workshop, but I just want to give you that idea. Kristen says, are you currently using Google Hangouts on Air? I see it is hosted on Webinar Jam. Why not use Google Hangouts directly? Haha, because Webinar Jam Studio allows me to register you, track your attendance. It tells me when you show up and if you leave before the end. It also integrates with my Infusionsoft. So I can actually, I have a system by which, for example, if you rang off now, this is not set up for this webinar, but I could. If you jumped off now, Webinar Jam Studio could let Infusionsoft know, and Infusionsoft would automatically send you an email that said, hey, we're so sorry that you had to leave the webinar early. Here's the replay. So there's a lot of back-end intelligence that Webinar Jam allows me to have. So Webinar Jam sort of sits on top of Google Hangouts and allows me to do a lot of things and get a lot more information than I would have just with Google Hangouts. So that's what I do. Good. So let's talk. That's the first 18 of the 27 to 32 things that no one ever tells you. And as I said, I'm sort of violating conventional wisdom on this preview call thing because you're not really supposed to give people this much information in a preview call, but I don't care, and I think you guys can take it. And it also just seems fair to me. It feels like, you know, if you are interested in doing the Turn Your Wisdom into Workshops class, then this is gonna be fun for you. And if you're not interested in taking the Wisdom into Workshops class, which is totally fine, then I want this time to have as much value for you as it possibly can. So that's just my ethics. So let's take just 2 minutes right now to talk about this brand new class that starts on the 21st. You can go to turnyourwisdomintoworkshops.com. And yeah, it's a 6-week class. It starts on the 21st of January. All the calls are recorded. I think I'm going to do it on Instant Teleseminar. It'll be on the phone rather than on video. But it includes some amazing bonuses. It includes a ticket to the Big Yes, which is my 3-day event in the summer. The Big Yes, how to overcome perfectionism, procrastination, and self-doubt and make $10,000 or more from your creativity. It's in LA, July 22nd to the 24th at the Westin LAX in Los Angeles. That's where we were last year. It was gorgeous. The staff is amazing. The food is incredible. So you get a free ticket to the Big Yes. You also get a class that I taught last year, a 6-session on-demand webinar class called Write Great Emails. And as some of you know, email marketing is really all the marketing I do. All I do is send emails. And, you know, I've built a mid-6-figure business on emails. I'm an email marketing expert. I'm an Infusionsoft certified consultant. I was an Ultimate Marketer finalist for Infusionsoft a couple of years ago. I know a lot about how to create great emails and how to build a tribe and build a list and sell things if you want to via email. So that's a great adjunct to the Turn Your Wisdom into Workshops class because it gives you some of the tools by which you can fill a workshop, because it's one thing to plan a great one. It's another thing to get people actually in the room. You also get, and Leonore and I are having the best time creating these templates, worksheets, resource lists, like all the stuff we use. Like you guys were asking about why do I use Webinar Jam versus this, and all the back end stuff we use, the marketing timeline. I'm going to give you all this stuff from our office, basically. Again, that we've had to learn the hard way, but I'm happy to share it with you guys as part of Turn Your Wisdom into Workshops. I'm also going to do a bonus tech training. I'm going to make a screencast that will walk you through either how to set up a call in Webinar Jam Studio or an Instant Teleseminar. So I'm just going to poll you guys and see, would you rather learn how to set up a video one, or would you rather learn how to set up a teleclass one? And I'll just walk you through how I set it up and why I do it the way I do it. So you can literally have I will hold your hand. You can play the screencast and set it up yourself, step by step by step by step, pause, do the thing, pause, do the thing. Because I know that's can be scary, you know, and even the help that they offer, the training and support, and can sometimes be sort of confusing. So to have me walk you through it in plain language, you know, and those decisions like this, is there a replay? Should I do a replay? Should I not do a replay? What kind of replay? A replica replay or some other kind of replay? And then of course you get the Year in the 365 Club. So you get a monthly call with me, you know, all year to support you as you move through this material. The 6 classes are cover, you know, as much as I can possibly cover. The first one is what to teach, because I know that's a big thing. Like, what do I even offer? And the second one is like what to name it, because how you name your workshops is so important. The second class is how to price it. How much should you charge? And when to schedule it. When to schedule it. Should you have it during the day? Should you have it at night? Should you have it on the weekend? Should you have it on the weekday? Class 3 is how to get the word out, marketing, and also how to sell it, sales. Class 4, behind the scenes, ground rules, legal agreements, admin stuff, backstage stuff, what to do about refunds, all that sort of backroom things. 5 is going to be Q&A, just so I can make sure I'm answering all your questions. Class 6 is the, like, it's happening now what? You know, how to set up ground rules in a room, how to maximize involvement as the workshop is unfolding, and how to enroll the next class as you're teaching this class, right? So that's it. Turn Your Wisdom into Workshops, 6-week class, get a ticket to Big Yes, get the Right Grade Emails course. If you buy it live this very moment in time during this actual live broadcast right now, you will get a very special bonus that I'm not even going to tell you what it is, but you can trust me, you will like it. If you're looking at this later, don't worry. It's, you know, you're still getting a great deal. So if you have questions and you want to email me, I'm happy to answer them. Like I said, we start on the 21st. I would recommend hopping in. You know, if you know you want to do it, start now, because you get the Right Grade Emails course immediately, so you can start that right away. Let me go back to the chat and see if you guys have any questions about this. Lynn says, I love that you actually include real content. I've stopped listening to a lot of other people's free presentations because they just seem like listening to a long commercial. Yeah, that's my feeling too. That's my feeling too. It's driving me nuts. So I figure, you know, I get to be in charge. It's one of the nice things about having your own business is you get to be in charge. So, and I trust you all that you see value, you know value when you see it. You know if this class is right for you. If it is, great. If it's not, fine. Leslie says, along that same trajectory, you've used a few options over time. Can you speak about if you're happy with Webinar Jam Studio versus other options you've used? I haven't used too many other for video web. The other big competitor to Webinar Jam Studio is called Stealth Seminar, and I know a lot of people who really love them, and their customer service is supposedly better than Webinar Jam Studios. I've had a great time with Webinar Jam Studio. I like them. I like the people. I find it pretty easy to use. There is some instability in the Google Hangouts world, just because Google Hangouts can be kind of a funky thing, but you know what it is. It's technology. There's always going to be something funky. I've heard great things about Zoom. I've used Zoom a little bit for live video conferencing. Great tool and not very expensive. The other one is GoToWebinar, right? GoToMeeting. They're sort of the big dogs, but they're expensive and not very Mac friendly, and I don't love them myself. But it's personal preference. If you go onto a Facebook page that's tech oriented, you know, that's the Infusionsoft, one of the Infusionsoft user pages, or an ask, you'll get a bunch of different opinions, and they all have pluses and minuses. I will say for teleconferencing, Instant Teleseminar is hands down everybody's favorite. In fact, I sent an email. That question came up on one of my Facebook pages, you know, oh, what teleconferencing service do you use? And 9 people piled on, were like, Instant Teleseminar, Instant Teleseminar. We love Instant Teleseminar. Instant Teleseminar is the best. Can't say enough good things about Instant Teleseminar. And I actually copied out the comment thread and sent it over to Joel, who's, he's the guy who runs the company. Just say like, we were all talking sweet about you behind your back. So that's the one. And again, it's, I think that's $67 a month or something. But freeconferencecalling.com works too. That's what I started with. And that is, as its name suggests, free. Super easy to use. Catherine says, what time of day and time zone are the 6 workshops? They happen on Thursdays at, I think, 10 Pacific time, which is the time I chose because it works for almost all of the English-speaking world. People in Australia have to get up really early, but it works for almost everybody. But everything's recorded and available for download, and you'll have eternal access to it. So you can, tune in live, but you can also always watch the replays. And again, there's the 365 Club, which is a Facebook page and a monthly call to sort of keep you on track if for some reason you're not watching in real time. But yeah, Thursdays at 10 Pacific time is when the actual live thing is happening. Good. Anything else? All right. All right, let's do these last, however many there are. So selling, speaking of selling, yeah, practice your pitch. Practice your pitch, write it out. Especially if you don't have a lot of experience selling, it's really awkward. And don't leave it to the end. You'll notice I'm doing it. Oh, see, that's one of the hidden things I wasn't going to tell you. All right, so I don't leave the pitch to the end. I do the pitch about 2/3 of the way through. Because at the end, you're going to feel rushed and everybody kind of turns off. They kind of tune out like, yeah, this is the pitch part. Practice. So practice the selling part. I guess that's all I'll say about that. Yeah, don't let people get distracted during your pitch, especially if you're doing something live in a room, if you're standing up in front of a room and you're selling a program, or you've got something in the back of the room, or you want them to enroll in the next thing. Don't pass out the sign-up form until you have finished talking to them about it. Then pass out the sign-up form. Don't let anybody else pass anything out. A friend of mine told me about how she was in the middle of her pitch and the organizer of the event was passing out like evaluation forms for the event while she was doing her pitch. No. While you're talking to people about what you're selling, you want their attention. You want to be able to feel into them and have them feel into you. And then afterwards, give them whatever it is they need to fill out or whatever. Do be available after a pitch for questions, right? So once you're done saying, okay, I'm offering this thing, and I'll be in the back of the room if you have questions. So you go back there with your staff, and they can process orders, and you can stand there and ask questions because people will want to come up to you then. So that's the one time you don't want to disappear during a break, is after you've made your pitch. This was another one that I learned from one of my friends. He said, as you make your pitch, and as soon as you're done, have your staff standing up in the back of the room to take the orders. Which I thought, that is so smart. Same thing if you're sponsoring an event, be standing. Like if you're sitting, people are just like sitting like, yeah, we're here to take orders. That's not very welcoming. And it doesn't convey the urgency and the significance of what they're doing and what you're offering. So have them standing up, pens clicked, ready to go, ready to welcome people into whatever the thing is that you're offering them. Good. And then afterwards, once you're done with the workshop, you want to end each segment at the 90-minute mark. You really don't want to keep people more than 90 minutes if you can possibly help it. It's just a natural arc. It's a natural rhythm to things. And nobody ever gets mad at you for ending early. So really try to keep it to that. Because sometimes, my friend Jesse Corin was talking about this at an event that I was at of his recently. He's like, sometimes you're up on stage, it's going really well, and you're delivering the material, and it feels really good, and you kind of want to keep it going, so then you go longer, and then you've ruined it. So 90 minutes, stop talking, schedule out your thing. When I started, I would write out my teaching agenda, like started at 1 p.m., or 10 a.m., 10 a.m. to 10:02, welcome. 10:02 to 10:05, breathing. 10:05 to 10:10, intro, the class, 10:10 to 10:15, first teaching bit. You know, like I would time it out specifically so that it was never more than 90 minutes. Now, again, there's exceptions. My friend Bill Barron stays on the phone for like hours, like 2, 3, 4 hours answering questions and enrolling people into his workshops, particularly when he's doing a preview event like this one. So, you know, there's exceptions to the rule, but generally speaking, end at 90 minutes or before that. Do an immediate debrief of your staff and yourself. It was one of my most favorite and least favorite moments of the last couple of big yeses is like, we're done, we're wrapped, we've got the afterglow, we take pictures, oh my gosh, it's been so incredible, what an amazing 3 days, you've changed my life, you've changed my life, oh my God, we're gonna be friends forever. And finally I get up to the hotel room and I'm like, oh, and in comes my event coordinator. Okay, Sam, before we pour you a glass of wine, what did you love? What did you not love? Like, what went great? What could we do better? And I'm like, oh my God, really? Now, right now, we have to have this conversation? Yes, right now, we have to have this conversation. It'll take 10 minutes, but there's stuff that's happening and that has happened that you're thinking about in that moment in time that you will totally forget half an hour later, particularly if you have the glass of wine. So and you won't even remember to do it. So put somebody in your staff, say, remember that we want to have a debrief immediately following. And then you can write down, let's remember next time to get more water glasses. Let's remember next time that the sandwich place takes extra time to deliver. Let's remember for next time, you know, this, that, you know, to have more change available. Things we did really well. That was great that we started right on time. That was great that the parking lot was, you know, whatever it is. Kathy says she's lost track of numbering. Dietrich says, which number is debriefing? Debriefing is 24. I'll run through them all again for those of you who need to have it numbered. I love that about you, that you're like that. 25, again, a simple thing that, you know, you probably would have thought of yourself, but maybe not. Send thank you notes. Send thank you notes to your staff. Send thank you notes to the event manager at the hotel, to anyone who helped you. It can be very short, very sweet, very sincere. Just a couple of sentences. You can do it via email. You can do it via Facebook message. That's more and more acceptable. I like to actually get out some stationery and write a note. I think it matters to people. Number 26. This one's so important, and it breaks my heart how many people don't do this. You ready? Write this down in big letters. Follow up, follow up, follow up. Because there's the stuff that happens in the room and during the workshop, particularly, you know, if you're trying to sell them something, but then there's what happens afterwards. Some people aren't going to buy right there in that minute. You know, some people aren't ready. They need to talk to somebody. They need to check their schedule. They're not sure. They're having a moment, whatever. But if you don't follow up with them, they're not gonna come back around to you, right? So, you know, give them, you know, if you're doing a replay, give them the replay. If you're gonna do an encore, do an encore. If you want to reiterate the offer, do the offer. If you're doing an early bird, do the early bird. Like whatever excuse you can make to reach back out to people and say, hey, I'm still doing this and I'd still love to have you as part of it. Don't worry about harassing people, particularly if it's email. Right? You can't disturb people via email. They're 100% in control of if they open the email, if they click, and if they read it. So it's not like you're standing there ringing their doorbell, interrupting their morning nap. It's email. But also, you know, get on the phone, call them. How was that for you? Are you interested in doing this? Just wanted to follow up. How's it going? How's this landing? Are you interested in this? Can I be of service to you? I'm shocked, I tell you, at how many things I go to, stores, workshops, intensives, preview calls, whatever, things I show up for, I sign up, they get my name and my email and my phone number, and I never hear from them again. I'm like, So you just don't want my money or what? You know? So follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. And then finally, number 27 is celebrate. When you're done, celebrate. Give yourself a wonderful treat, whatever that means for you. You know, take the afternoon off and take a beautiful walk, have a phone call with a friend, go shopping, buy yourself something special, go out to a fancy lunch, whatever turns you on. But make sure you reward yourself. It's a lot of work to put on a workshop, and it's a big step forward in your personal development, in your creative development, in your business development, and it's worth celebrating. So that's the 27 that I wrote down. Oh my gosh, and it's 11 o'clock straight up. See, I tell you, I love it when the timing works so beautifully. So I'll run through these 27 again, just so that those of you who are keeping track of the numbers can do that. TurnYourWisdomIntoWorkshops.com. If you want the very special, secret, unadvertised, I'm not even going to tell you what it is, bonus, you need to sign up during this live call. And there's a 30-day guarantee. I mean, if you start this class and it's not for you, just let me know and I'll refund your money. And you can keep the Write Great Emails course. You know, if I'm not helping you or it's not what you thought it was, I don't want your money. So satisfaction guaranteed, or your tuition cheerfully refunded within 30 days. So risk-free to you. All the risk is on me. All right, you ready for me to recap these? Let me see if there's any questions happening. Okay, good. All right. Here's the rundown. Number 1, never do math on stage. Number 2, don't teach it unless you love it. Number 3, plan for tech failure, plan for getting rained out, at least have a plan B in your mind somewhere. Number 4, ask them what they want to learn. Get feedback, survey them, call them ahead of time. Talk to them while they're in the room, get feedback while it's happening. Number 5, get a room angel. Have somebody, at least one other person, and depending on how big of a room you're talking about, several people maybe, to support you and support the group. Number 6, don't barter. Don't barter. It's just too complicated. You know, like I said, just write each other a check for $100 if you're going to do that, just to keep it clean, because otherwise, just nobody's sure what their rights and responsibilities are. Number 7, make your workshop box. Create it in advance so that you've got your little, emergency kit of things you're going to want and need or wish you have with. And the more you do it, the more you'll add to things and figure out what you need to have in there, and then you'll have it ready whenever you need it. So that was the planning part. For the immediately before the workshop. Number 8, print out your PowerPoint presentation. If you've got one. Super. Do you have a comment? You guys want to see this kitty? I try not to pick up cats very much because, I don't know, I feel like they don't like it, but he's sort of at an odd angle. Here we go. Here's Cooper. Yeah, honey. Everything okay? All right. Maybe that's number 12 is roll with the punches. Roll with the kitties when they want to be part of the program. Okay, so number 8, print your PowerPoint. Number 9, you're the talent. 9, you are the talent. Number 10, it takes longer to teach it in real life than it does inside of your mind. Consider having less information and more time to process and integrate the information. Number 11, keep an eye out for the problem children and have a plan to help manage them. Number 12, welcome people. Welcome them with snacks and drinks. And number 13, so now we're at the during workshop. Number 13, smile. Smile at them. Smile even when you're on the phone. Number 14, body language. Number 15, look through the camera. Don't look down at yourself. Look up at the camera and through the camera lens. Number 16, yeah, don't worry about being, you know, all buttoned up. Be you. Use your personality. Don't worry about being professional. Be yourself. I'm thinking about a time Gary Vaynerchuk. Do you guys know Gary Vaynerchuk? He's kind of famous. He was the keynote speaker at one of the Infusionsoft events, and Infusionsoft, as you may or may not know, is run by Mormons, and there's a lot of Mormons who work at the company, so they tend to be, you know, pretty conservative in their language. They and very nice, you know, very nice people. So Gary Vaynerchuk gets up and goes, "All right, I'm kind of nervous because they told me that I couldn't say, so I don't know how long I'm gonna last. Fuck it." And then he just swore like a sailor the entire time. It was hilarious. So you do you, be you. Number 17, conserve your energy during breaks. Number 18, trust the group intelligence. Listen, feel into it, really use your intuition, use all of your senses, really pay attention to what's happening inside of the room, because the group will tell you everything you need to know. Number 19, practice your pitch. If you're selling something and you're not, even if you are used to selling something, write down all the key points, because you'll forget. I guarantee you'll forget. You know, there's a reason, you know, in times of stress, we revert to our level of preparation, right? That's why we have fire drills. That's why we have wedding rehearsals. When the stakes are high, you do what you've rehearsed. So rehearse the important part, rehearse the pitch. You don't want to walk out of there feeling like, wow, I gave a great workshop and then I didn't sell anything because I wasn't really clear about what I was selling, or I wasn't really clear about what the offer was. Number 20, don't give them anything to read. Don't distract them while you're doing the pitch. Number 21, be available after the pitch to answer questions. That's the one time you don't want to disappear during a break. Number 22, have your staff standing up to accept the orders. 23, end at 90 minutes. Don't go long just because it feels good. 24, do an immediate debrief. Elise says, keep your animals locked away when presenting. Yes, exactly. That would probably be wise. Let's see, that's very funny. 25, send thank you notes. 26, follow up. What I'm saying is follow up. What I'm saying is make sure that you follow up with people. I hear all the time, like, I don't have anybody to sell to. I don't know who to, like, did you talk to the people who came last time? Oh, no, I guess I could call them. Yes, call them. And then finally celebrate. Make sure that you make time to honor yourself for the work that you do. Because, you know, when you have a job, then you'll have a boss who says, oh, good work, you know, or you can have a coworker who says, oh, you did a really great job. But when it's just you, when you're a solopreneur, when you're the only one leading the workshop, it can be really lonely. So you want to make sure that you're a great boss to yourself, and you give yourself a bonus or the day off or something lovely to acknowledge yourself for all your hard work. Because it is hard work, and you know, there's probably about 700,000 other things that I could tell you, and that I will tell you, you know, during the Turn Your Wisdom into Workshop class, and you know, specific things that are specific to different genres. You know, obviously, a yoga workshop is going to be different than a consensus facilitation workshop is going to be different than an acting workshop is going to be different than a grief recovery workshop. There's different ways you want to go about approaching each of those, and I want to help you with that. So, you know, if you're into it, it's a great way. Here's what I've learned about workshops. Everything good that's ever happened to me, not everything good, but most of the good things that have happened to me professionally have happened because of a workshop. When I spent 15 years teaching with Sam Christensen, doing workshops on personal branding and identity definition, taught improvisation, taught acting, Get It Done workshop, Start Right Where You Are. And the Get It Done book started because of the Get It Done workshop, right? That's where all the material in this book came out of. And I will also tell you that the only reason that book sold, I mean, not the only reason, but one of the reasons the publisher was willing to give me such a good deal, they were willing to buy it, is because I had a list of people who were already interested in my material because I've been offering workshops for all these years. It's a great way to augment your income. And you will learn your craft in a whole nother way. Your understanding of what you do will deepen and be enriched in a way that you would never be able to predict. It's so exciting to continue on your path of evolution. And remember, just because you're teaching a workshop doesn't mean you're the ultimate expert of all things, right? You're still learning too. You're still working on it too. That's what makes you a great teacher. So, and one of the ways you learn and evolve is by teaching. You start to understand the material in a totally different way. So if this is something that interests you at all, I would recommend you sign up. For the bonuses alone, I would sign up. But also, I think it'll really support you in your next stage of development. And the world needs you. The world needs what you have to teach. You guys are so smart and you're so gifted and you have such wonderful insights into things. You know, I really, it makes me sad to think of people not being able to share that and learn all that from you. Let's see, anything else you guys have questions about? Anything you're wondering about, worried about, thinking about? I'm not, like I said, I am violating my own rule. I didn't have an assistant for this call, so I don't have somebody monitoring the sales right now. I'll find out when we're done. But for those of you who did buy during this time, I want to thank you for trusting me and for trusting yourself and for following your interest and your intuition. And for those of you who are sitting there thinking, yeah, no, not for me, that's totally fine. I hope we'll work together soon. Anything else? Love this all so much. Thank you, Tara. Joanne says, I love it when Cooper makes an appearance. Thank you. I love my kitties too. Elise says, do you ever Periscope? I was looking for you after starting your book. I don't. I haven't Periscoped. I know a lot of people who really love it. And one of my theories for successful entrepreneurship is selective neglect. And what that means is sometimes there's something new that comes on the scene that is super popular, and I just go like, okay, later. Like, I see you over there, Periscope. I'll get to you later. I'm writing my fifth book, but my second book for New World Library. Right now, the manuscript deadline is shockingly soon. So I'm trying to sort of limit the new things that I'm doing. But I'll get there. I'll get to Periscope eventually. But thank you for looking for me. I'm very flattered. Shelly says, I'm in. Yay, that's so great. I'm so pleased. Jeff, I think Jeffifer's already signed up. Desiree says, thank you. Great info. I'm so glad. That's wonderful. I'm glad you found it valuable. Anything else? Anything you're wondering about? Like, well, Sam, I'm not sure. If this is really right for me. Kristen says, on page 36 in your book, Get It Done, there's a chart. Do you have this in PDF or Word doc? Well, let's see what chart that is, shall we? 36. Oh, weekly project tracking. Oh gosh, honey. I mean, I do, but it's just you can just do. Here's what it is, everybody. It's just a way to keep track of your weekly accomplishments. It's 5 things I'm proud of from the last week. What have I learned? What do I know now that I didn't know then? A little exercise around your critical rational voice. The critical rational voice that says, nobody can fill a workshop. You don't know how to do this. You don't have enough experience. And the deep inner wisdom that says, maybe I could try it. And then 3 things you could do this week. I've made it before as a Word document, but it's like, I wouldn't even send it to you. It's not, it doesn't even look like anything. I deliberately under-design my worksheets because I want you to design your own. So make your own. You can do it with pen and ink. You can make it on the computer. Ask your own questions. Add in things. Draw a border. Make it fun for yourself. So but if you really, I mean, if I can send it to you as the PDF if you want. Just email me, sam@theorganizedartistcompany.com. Robin says, this is good info, and I love that you've demonstrated many of these behaviors for us to see. Oh my gosh, I didn't do the hidden ones. Oh my gosh, this is what I get for teaching something brand new. So did anybody notice the things that I did that support a successful workshop that I didn't talk about? Anybody want to guess what some of those are? See, Ariana says, I'm not sure this is right for me, plus I'm in rehearsals 10 to 1 and hate the idea of missing the class live. Does it make sense to talk? Sure, honestly, Ariana, though, I think if you're getting a little pull towards it, I would just try it. Try it and check it out and see it, and if it doesn't work, then let us know, and we're happy to refund. I don't want you to do it if it's not working for you. And I'm sure there will be other people in the course who also can't listen to it live. You could probably partner with one of them and like make a little accountability date. Like, okay, we'll watch it on Thursdays from 2 to 3, or we'll watch it on Saturday morning together, or have a little accountability buddy so that you're sure to watch and keep up. And you can always email me and ask me questions as the course rolls out. So, but if you have other questions, yeah, email me or Leonore, and we're happy to talk to you about it. That's fine. Let's see, I have the product placement. Yes, very good. Valerie says, I'm guessing that your glasses are actually a clever prop, allowing you to play with them a bit to put us at ease. No, the glasses are actually glasses. They're reading glasses, but they're my glasses. Good, yes, the book in the background. Yes, very good. Let's see, Ariane says, mainly because I'm in a trance channel and I want to grow the group experience. Tiny business, right? Oh, not necessarily. Les says, I let my cat walk across the screen. See, guys, I'm so real. Also unplanned, but yes, I will tell you, there was one time I was doing one of these, and Chester, my other kitty, sort of made an appearance, and I just, I think it was for the Get It Done workshop, so I was like, oh, Chester doesn't have any problem procrastinating, and put him down. And my downstairs neighbor, who takes care of the cats sometimes when we're away, sent me a little text or something. She's like, oh, Chester's in the video. And I'm like, oh yeah, right, Chester's in the video. Like, what's the most popular thing on the internet? Cat videos. So I had sent out the video already, but I sent it out again with a new email subject line that said, see my adorable kitty cat in the video. Like, am I exploiting my animal companions? Yes, I am, because it's about time they start to pull their weight. That kibble doesn't by itself. All right. But yes, I don't, in the be yourself category, I don't worry about the fact that my cats are wandering around. They're interested in, wherever my energy is. So of course they're often going to show up. And because of who I am and the kind of work I do, and my people are cat lovers too, it's not a problem for me. If I were in a different line of business, if I were doing like financial services or something, I don't know, probably then I'd even let my cats come in, but it's a choice, it's a decision. Tracy says, your workshops are always wonderful. Thank you. Well, thank you for saying that. Is there a promo code? No, that's just something that's on the order form always. We just didn't take it off. Good. Lean into the camera so that you're engaged and excited. Yes. Good. Okay, I'll tell you some of the other hidden things that I wrote down that I didn't have on this list, but that support a successful workshop. One is this sort of goes to the welcoming thing, but really acknowledging people as they come in. It's easy to feel distracted, and to not do that. So to really, like I said, really acknowledge the people who have taken the time out of their lives to be there with you. Sally says, always read chat notes so they show up in the replay. Yep. Exactly. The other thing, I did that little bit of breathing. Sometimes I do it 3 times. Sometimes I just do it 1 time. And I do that for a couple different reasons. Number one, I do it for me so that I'm centered, so that I plug in, so that remember, especially, beforehand, like I said, I get really excited or sometimes kind of nervous, and sort of like, remember, like, this is church. This is my church. And it also gives you all a chance to center in. And it also buys me a little bit of time in case people are a minute or two late. You guys are used to me starting right on time. So sometimes people put in really long introductions to their workshops because they know people come on late. And I just don't buy that. I think that's ridiculous. You know, if it starts at 10, by 10:05, I want to have already given you some really juicy information. So, but I do that breathing as a little tiny bit of buffer in case people are a minute or too late. I oriented you to the call, right? I said, this is why we're here. Here's how it's going to play out. I was very upfront about the fact that I'm selling something. This isn't one of those like sneaky things. I said, you know, we're going to talk about these things. At this, about 2/3 of the way through, I'm going to take about 5 minutes to talk about the workshop. Then I'm going to give you the rest. I gave you these hidden things so that people would stay on the call till the end, right? Save the juicy thing for the end so people stay engaged. And then number 5, you guys are notes. Kristen saying, I love how real you are and friendly. Sylvia says, I love you, Sam. You're authentic and generous. That's so nice of you all to say. And it's the thing I said for number 5 is be authentic, honest, and transparent. You know, who you are is enough. You don't need to make excuses, and you don't need to be better or bigger or smarter than you are. And really letting the truth of who you are shine through, because the people who are into you and with you and want to partner with you will find you. You know, when you're putting out a clear, consistent message about the truth of who you are and what you do, you become like the whistle only dogs can hear. And the people who vibe with you will find you. The people who share your values will find you. The people who are already into what you're doing will find you. You don't need to convince anybody of anything. You just need to show up, right? And when you're showing up, again, really authentically, honestly, transparently, the people who don't vibe with you will not find you. And that's even better, because we all know nothing's more expensive than a bad client. Nothing's worse than trying to teach a class to a room full of people who like don't get it and don't care. You know, you want to be working with your tribe, with the people who love what you're up to and value you and are happy to pay you for what you're doing. So those were some of my little hidden tips. Again, sign up for Wisdom Into Workshops. I'll tell you every hidden thing I got. Good. Anything else? All right. Last chance for questions. Anything else anybody wants to say? Just running back through to make sure I didn't miss anything. But good noticing, you guys. Good paying attention to the subterranean structure of things that make these things work. Okay, looks good. All right, let's do one more round of breathing just to close out this circle. And that would be one more little hidden secret tip, is to make sure that you, once you've opened the container, you close it again, or once you've closed it, you open it again, however you want to think about that. You ready? Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Valerie says thank you. Loved what I heard. Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Yes, you all too. And for those of you on the replay, thanks again for making the time. Oh, and one more appearance. One more appearance from Cooper. Hi, honey. Everything okay? All right, good. Great. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you at Turn Your Wisdom Into Workshops.